Right then, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Assetto Corsa Offline Championship. We are here for round number 9 of the 2021 Formula 1 World Championship as we take to the legendary circuit, the Spa-Francorchamps, for the Belgian Grand Prix. Yes, Formula 1 is finally back. I was about to say that, and then the game crashed, so we'll get back underway with qualifying very, very shortly. But yeah, we're finally back after a few weeks of a hiatus. We are back with more Formula One action here in Belgium. My name is Miran in the commentary booth today, and joining me for this occasion is none other than Alex. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Miran. It's good to be back and raring to go for F1 in Belgium. And as you said, yeah, it is a very iconic circuit, so we should be getting some very good racing today.
Yes, indeed. Spa has been such an iconic track, not only for Formula One but for ACOC as well. I think last week, or was it 2 weeks ago? I can't remember now. My brain's a bit fuzzy, but yeah, last or at least a few weeks ago, we had Formula 2 and Porsche Super Cup on here, and yeah, F2 was very, very exciting around here. That's safe to say. So if that's anything to go by, Formula 1 should be the same. But we're here for the first stage of qualifying. We're just getting ready for Q1. 12 minutes on the clock. Bottom 5 will be eliminated as always. And yeah, Eric Adelberg, you just see him being the first man out on track here at Spa. And yeah, as he makes his way around the circuit, I will take you through the track. So, the circuit, the Spa-Francorchamps, also just known as the Spa Circuit, was opened in August of 1921, making this one of the oldest tracks on the Formula One calendar. It's located in the Belgian city of Stavelot, just about 8 kilometers southeast of Spa. The reason why it is named Spa-Francorchamps is because its original layout in the 1920s connected the three towns of Stavelot, Malmedy, and Francorchamps, I believe it was. And the original track layout was 15 kilometers long. Obviously, it was shortened over the following years, and you had Formula 1, and you had the first ever Belgian Grand Prix held here in 1925. You also had the first ever Spa 24 Hours held in the year before in 1924, and those two are events which have ran almost every year at this track. You've also had the 6 Hours of Spa, part of the World Endurance Championship. You formerly had the Belgian Motorcycle Grand Prix all the way up until the 90s, and a slew of other racing series, which if I were to mention all of them, we'd be here all day, so I won't. Either way, this layout that we are using, the Grand Prix circuit, which has remained unchanged since 2007, is just over 7 kilometers. It's 7.004 kilometers, 20 turns, and a race lap record of a 1:46.2 set in 2018. And, well, what is there to say about this track, really? What is there to say? It's such a legendary track. All the corners carry so much importance, and just all have a massive name to themselves, and every single corner is just so unique on this track. I really can't do them justice with my own words. So yeah, this is one of the most legendary tracks on the ACOC calendar for a reason. But yeah, what do you make of it, Alex?
As you said, Spa is a very iconic circuit with a name for pretty much every corner, and plenty of iconic moments happening here too. For example, Mika Häkkinen's famous overtake again on Michael Schumacher in the year 2000 being one of the staple moments here. And as we continue to watch Eric Adelberg going through the flat-out section of Blanchimont, about to finish his lap and be the first to set a timed lap in Q1. Going through the bus stop chicane now, very clinical set of corners as he finishes the lap and to set the benchmark for the rest of the field. It is going to be a 1:49.4 from Eric Adelberg. So that is a benchmark for the rest of the grid to try and beat, as Wojtek Kulasek has led by example and is the first to set his time, though Alex Broster is unable to beat Adelberg's time, around 2/10 off. Albon behind Broster, and Franz Tost in the Aston Martin has beaten Adelberg himself as well, so the first 5 times are on the board. Make that 6 with Daniel. Okay, yeah. There's a lot of times going on the board now. Everyone's coming through the final corners. As Farina is the next, then following him is Parachki, who is the second driver to break into the 1:48, with Franco Gamba a 1,000th off. And Josef Frederick Schuto is the next, followed by Parish and Dennis Graf.
Yeah. Hello once again. But yeah, times coming in on the board now, and I think now, Alex, obviously would be a good time to talk about the big news here at Spa, which is that we do have some driver changes here at Spa. A bit of mid-season swap, some drivers going in, some drivers going out. And well, the big news was that Thomas Mandic, after a pretty lackluster first half of the season, was dropped by Ferrari. The man who replaced Luca Farina at Ferrari this season was dropped after a very, very unsuccessful 8 races in the season, and in his place is Luca Farina, who steps once again back up from Alfa Romeo back into the Ferrari, the Italian in red once again, doing not badly right now. He's actually in 3rd, so yeah, good to see Farina back in the scarlet red colors of Ferrari. Mandic, though, wasn't left completely out of a seat. He has taken Kai Chereznia's seat at Aston Martin. Chereznia, who was also dropped by Aston Martin following a pretty uncompetitive first half of the season. And Mandic returns to his former team, now in green. And Farina, who obviously stepped up from Alfa Romeo, was replaced by Ferrari reserve Miran Evji. So he makes his debut for a brand new team in Alfa Romeo. At the moment, though, he is in last, so I presume he's just getting accustomed to the car. So yeah, pretty big news here at Spa, Alex. What you make of it?
Yeah, it should be very interesting to see these drivers in their, well, maybe not so new environments if you're Luca Farina or Thomas Mandic. But for Miran Evji, it will be a test to see if he has been able to keep up with the rest of the field in these ever-changing cars, because he has been in F1. He has been out of an F1 seat since 2019, and he may struggle a little bit with these new cars, as he is currently last out of everyone with 4 minutes of the first qualifying session to go, as we see Broster moving himself to P11. So going back to Miran Evji, it's only a matter of time to see what he can do.
Yeah, we'll see what he is going to be able to do. Obviously, not a lot of pressure is going to be on the former Ferrari driver for this later end of the season. As we're now looking at Jesper Johansson, who is down in 13th. He was 12th, but Alex Broster just got himself out of the bottom 5 there, up into 11th. Speaking of the bottom 5, your bottom 5 at the moment in qualifying is Daniel Walle, followed by Will Parrish, Victor Albom, Daniel Fraser, and Miran Evji then currently facing the drop, Will Parrish improves up into 12th, and Dennis Groff goes up into P4. That sees Alexander Arnold go into the elimination zone, I believe, and Jesper Johansson will want to get an improvement in here if he wants to go through to Q2. Mercedes have had their drivers cock up a bit in qualifying over 1 or 2 odd races in the season, so they'd want to avoid that here at Spa, and especially Jesper Johansson, who now has a 26-point gap over his teammate Dennis Paratsky, cannot afford to get knocked out here.
Yeah, and you say that, and he has just gone into P10, so it is an improvement, but it will seemingly be a pretty lackluster one for Jesper Johansson, as you'd expect him to be up there with the likes of Klaus Paratsky and Dennis Graf. Whilst his usual spot has been taken by Gamba, as Alex Broster actually puts himself into the top 10, knocking Johansson back down to 11th. So Johansson seemingly getting humbled by even the Williams cars. So very interesting to see Johansson struggling here.
Yeah, he's been a bit on and off in qualifying this season. Jesper Johansson only holds 1 pole to his name this season, which is quite a shock since Johansson usually tends to be very strong in qualifying, as we have seen in the past. Alex Broster as well, one man who's done brilliantly this season in my eyes, has qualified incredibly well. He's beat Alexander Arnold, his way more experienced teammate in his first full season of Formula 1, so Broster has been doing incredible work in that Williams, and we'll see if he is going to be able to carry on that good run of form here into Belgium, as we see Daniel Wally go into the pit now.
Yeah, and as we now watch Franco Gamba starting what will be his final lap of the session, he is P3, which is very impressive in that Alpine car. Gamba not having the best of seasons, let's say, as he is being outshone by his Czech teammate Vojta Kulasek, who is currently around just under 40 points ahead of Gamba in the standings. So if Gamba can keep this qualifying form going, it will definitely mean a lot for his season and his battle with his teammate Kulasek, who is currently sat in 14th.
Yeah, Gamba, who had a very good result, finished P5 at Hockenheim. Currently sits P3 in Q1. If he's able to carry on this good run of form from Hockenheim, Gamba could possibly have a bit of a late season charge and get up there with his teammate Vojta Kulasek, as Alexander Arnold goes across the line. He isn't able to get himself up with his teammate Alex Broster and currently sits in the elimination zone once again.
Yeah, and I think because with that lap as qualifying is finished, he is out of Q1, as we now watch Eric Adelberg currently in P8. So I think he is assured survival, and he definitely has now. He was P6. Fantastic, brilliant lap from Eric Adelberg there, as we see Daniel Fraser in the ever struggling Haas car. Now, can he get an improvement in? No, he can't. He stays in last.
Yeah, Haas underperforming this season by quite a lot. So we're going to see Franco Gamba across the line. Gamba does not improve. What about Miran FG? He comes into the pits and he is out of Q1 on his return to Formula 1. He will be starting in P19, as that's going to be both Alfa Romeos knocked out in Q1 then. Enes Parachi goes across the line and he improves on his fastest lap time. Jesper Johansson goes up into P7, as next across the line will be Vojta Kulasek, just making his way into the pit lane, aborts that lap. Laban Zasnishkai coming around the final corner then. Let's see if the Serbian's going to be able to improve here. No, he does not. Then it is Tomas Mandic. Mandic doesn't improve either.
Yeah, and one of the last cars to go across the line now, Joseph Frederick Schuto. He also does not improve as Arnold peels off into the pits, so his Q1 exit is confirmed, as Eric Adelberg now is one of the final 2 cars to cross the line. I'm not quite sure. I think will be the last one to cross the line now.
Yeah, I believe he is. Eric Adelberg then in P6. AlphaTauri as well have been a very, very strong duo in qualifying. Often they do often rack up a lot of Q2 and especially Q3 appearances as well. But that is Q1 done and dusted then, and you're knocked out are Daniel Wale, Alexander Arnold, Victor Album, Miran FG, and Daniel Fraser. And well, yeah, that is Q1 over with. And well, obviously I think the pace of the Alfa Romeos maybe was a little bit left to be desired. Miran FG, I think, struggled to get up to speed. Struggled to get up to speed a bit in new machinery. But one man who didn't struggle at all, in my opinion, was Luca Farina. I think he did brilliantly in that qualifying session. He was, I think, not even a tenth off Laban Zasnishka in Q1. If he keeps that pace up, I think he might have just been the right man for Ferrari.
Yeah, yeah. Well, these are pretty familiar surroundings for Luca Farina, as he has raced in Ferrari before, and well, it just seems to be business as usual for the Italian. So, very good, very plain sailing for the Italian as we begin Q2.
Yes, we're now here for Q2. This is where it's going to get interesting in the midfield then, as Lewis McIntyre is the first man out in his McLaren, and McIntyre as well has had such a good seasons now on his return to McLaren in 2020. Obviously, last season he had a brilliant season with McLaren, scoring McLaren's first ever podium in Formula 1, which was at the Belgian Grand Prix 1 season ago. And yeah, he's certainly enjoying himself this season as well, along with his teammate Josef Frederick Schuto. So McLaren currently sitting third in the Constructors' Championship. They are just 12 points ahead of Ferrari in the standing. So it is quite a close fight in the Constructors. And well, who knows? Farina could just be that little piece in the puzzle that Ferrari could need to get third. But I'm not going to get too ahead of myself here. Obviously, there is, after this, there's 6 rounds to go. And in 6 rounds, anything can still happen. So we don't know what's going to happen, really. But, yeah, safe to say, McLaren enjoying themselves once again.
Yeah, McLaren have had a pretty big renaissance in the past couple of seasons, and they have definitely locked in battle with Ferrari for the constructors championship battle for third. But Ferrari seem to be lacking behind, as Thomas Mandic was the weakest link. As you said, Farina could be the perfect piece for Ferrari's third place puzzle, as the other Ferrari driver in Laban Zasnikai has actually had a very impressive run of races, 4 consecutive podiums now for the Serbian. So it will be a case of catch him if you can, if you are Luca Farina.
Yeah, we'll see what he is going to be able to do then in this second half of the season. So it's just seeing Lewis McIntyre now on his lap, making his way around Brussels and through the downhill left-hander of turn number 11, Speaker's Corner, I believe it is called.
Yeah, and it's also referred to as the corner without a name.
Yeah, there it is.
As no one actually has any idea what it's actually called. So
I believe they did give it a name, I think, in recent years. I think it is called Speaker's Corner. But you are right that it is, I think it is also nicknamed No Name. So, yeah, I don't know. I've just heard it's called Speaker's Corner. But I know you can call it that as well. Either way, we're now seeing McIntyre make his way through Blanchimont and now down into the bus stop chicane on the brakes through the left or through the right and now into the left then and across the line for Lewis McIntyre. What is it going to be for him? It's a 1:49 flat and it's immediately topped by a second by Enis Parachki.
Yeah, well, we all know that Mercedes is very quick compared to the McLaren, but a whole second between them as Gamber actually goes into second provisionally, as we've only had 5 out of the remaining 15 drivers set a lap. As Jesper Johansson is the first to... Actually, it was Johansson in first for a moment before Dennis Graff topped his time by around a 100th of a second, and they are the first two to break into the 1:47s. Very quick times from Dennis Graff and Jesper Johansson, the former championship rivals.
Yes, indeed, good stuff from the pair then, but obviously Q2 is not where they'll come out to play. That is going to be Q3. So, yeah, I think these 3 lap times from the 2 Mercedes and Dennis Graff is going to be enough to get them into Q3. As we're looking at Fernando Toss now in P5 with and then Thomas Mandic in P6. So Aston Martin not looking too bad at the moment, actually, as Labas Nishka goes across the line and he can't get himself into the top 10, and that is a bit of a surprise for Labas Nishka, and even bigger of a surprise as his teammate Luca Farina has just gone up into 4th.
Yeah, so Nikai will be definitely looking over his shoulder and possibly panicking a bit as we see Alex Prost to go across the line, only good enough for 14th as Paris is the final car to cross the line in a very lofty P4 for AlphaTauri. Very, very, very good lap from the American as his teammate Adelberg just sits just inside the top 10.
Yeah, solid lap from Will Parrish, and I think that should definitely be enough to get the American into Q3, I'm sure of it. But yeah, there's Josef Frederick Schuto knocking Eric Adelberg into the bottom 5, and your bottom 5 currently then is Eric Adelberg, followed by Wojtek Kulasek, Labas Nishkai, Alex Broster, and Lewis McIntyre. As I just do say that Adelberg gets himself into the top 10 and now knocks Josef Frederick Schuto into the bottom 5. This is very interesting, Alex, as you've got a heap of good drivers in the bottom 5. It's quite unusual to see this.
Yeah, you've got both McLarens in the bottom 5 as well, as they've been toppled by Eric Adelberg in P9. And as you said, AlphaTauri usually do have very good qualifying sessions, but Parrish is actually 3/10 off of Johansson and Graf, so Parrish is actually putting in a very underrated performance as Sajnika does improve, but it is still not enough to find himself a place in the top 10, so a lot of work to be done still with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, as Luca Farina finds an improvement, but yeah, I have to give it to Will Parrish. Super underrated performer, not only here at Spa, but just this season overall. He's put in a brilliant performance in that AlphaTauri in the last 4 races. He's finished in the points, and yeah, he's done brilliantly as well. And I think, obviously, a lot of people heading into this season was expecting that Parrish would play second fiddle to Eric Adelberg, but he is 10 points clear of the Swiss driver. So Parrish has defied the odds here, really. And yeah, he's having a wonderful season right now. And, well, that's... I don't mean to disrespect Eric Adelberg either, because he's not putting in a bad performance either. But Parrish, I think, has been the standout performer.
Yeah, Adelberg has had his moments of excellence, but it seems like Will Parrish has been the more consistent one, scoring points 6 times out of our out of the 8 races we have had, and he may be looking to make it 7 point scoring finishes from 9 this time round. So Will Parrish will definitely be having his head up, whilst Eric Adelberg will have a lot of work to do. And mind you, these two are both Formula 2 champions.
Yeah, they have I have to say, Red Bull have a very, very promising lineup in their junior team. 2 drivers who could go very far in Formula 1. We'll just have to see what the future will hold. So now looking at Alfred Klaus. Alfred Klaus as well, who has been struggling a bit this season. Only won at Barcelona, and apart from his 2 opening podiums at Bahrain and Portimao, has not finished on the podium in 5 races now. So it's looking a bit bleak for Alfred Klaus, and he is only 1 point ahead of Lamazas Nishkai in a way less powerful Ferrari. So yeah, it's not looking to be the best of seasons for Alfred Klaus right now.
Yeah, and once again, he is seemingly way off the pace of his teammate Dennis Graf, and Klaus may actually find himself getting kicked out of the Red Bull team at the end of the season. But don't get it wrong, he did have a very, very, very strong run of form in the start of the season, but it seems to have faded quite a bit.
Yeah. Obviously, though, as we have said, there's still quite a few races to go in the season, so he might just end up proving us wrong. As their checker flag has now fallen, we're waiting for 13 cars across the line, and the man who currently is fastest in Q2, Dennis Graf, will be the first man to come across the line.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw it, but he did actually improve on his Sector 2 time, so we could be seeing another fastest lap, but there's no improvement as the Sector 3 was clearly not as good as we...
Ooh.
And
that is
it for Laban Savchnika. He is out of qualifying as we now cut to the AlphaTauri of... Actually, I'm not sure who that is, but one driver I do know for sure who is Alex Broster. He is the only Williams left. He peels off into the pits, and it will have to be P13 for the moment as Will Parrish crosses the line. No improvement from him. He stays P4. McIntyre, he will need a pretty big lap to make it to get himself out of that bottom 5, and he is not able to do it. He stays P15 as Wojtek Kulasek does lift himself out of the bottom 5 and into P10, but will it be enough as Thomas Mandich crosses the line and he's unable to improve? I think he will be out of qualifying, as now we see the McLaren of Joseph Frederick Schuto unable to improve as well. So both McLarens out of Q2, very surprising.
And it's a pretty big upset here in Q2. Both McLarens and Lamazas Nishkai knocked out, along with Thomas Mandich in the Aston Martin as well. And Wojtek Kulasek has just scraped his way into Q3. That's going to be both Alpines into Q3. What a performance from them.
Yeah, well, Alpine, Branko Gamba's Q1 performance definitely helped this, and as well as Kulasek's big lap right at the end. So both Alpines in Q3 as well as both AlphaTauris. So very, very big performance from 2 midfield teams as we see the German Dennis Graf finishing qualifying, but that will be it.
Yeah, and that is Q2 done and dusted. Dennis Graf is fastest, and your bottom 5 is Thomas Mandich, followed by Lamazas Nishkai, Josef Fredrik Schuto, Alex Broster, and Lewis McIntyre. So that is a pretty major upset, I have to say, for Q2. A lot of strong qualifiers out, and especially Lamazas Nishkai as well, being out-qualified by Luca Farina on his return to Ferrari. That's certainly going to make headlines.
Yeah, absolutely, because we'd have been expecting Savchnika to actually be the one out-qualifying Farina on his return to Ferrari, but clearly not, as he has been he's quite off the pace in Q2, so he will have a lot of time to make up for in the race. And as well as this, we have both the McLarens knocked out of Q2 as well. Very surprising as well, considering that they are locked in battle with Ferrari. So this will absolutely not help their third place mount.
Yeah, not at all. So it's going to be interesting to see then who is going to come out on top here. You've had both AlphaTauris and both Alpines into Q3, which is a brilliant performance from both of those teams. I really have to give it to them. So it'll be interesting to see what they'll be able to do now that we are here in Q3. And now the fight for pole will also begin.
Yeah, as Q3 is underway, 8 minutes of qualifying now. As we see, Luca Farina, I believe, is the first one to exit the pit lane, as he is also the first to go up Eau Rouge and Radion. This is a big qualifying for him. Can he possibly mount a challenge for even pole position, as he has been quite a strong contender already, it seems, in qualifying.
I think this Ferrari call-up has given him a massive boost of confidence, and it really goes to show his performance in Q1 and Q2, already out-qualifying his teammates on his return to Ferrari. So we can't say for sure right now, but this looks like a step in the right direction for Ferrari.
Absolutely, as well. They seem to be getting bogged down by Mandic's poor performances, but it looks like Luca Farina could be that breath of fresh air that Ferrari were looking for.
Yeah, but it is definitely good to see him back in the team. Pretty accomplished driver in Formula 2 and obviously Formula 1 as well. So we'll see how he's going to get on as he's back with the Scuderia, as he now is going to start his flying lap of the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. And Alex, would you like to take us through a lap?
Let's go. Yeah, sure. So as we enter turn 1, La Source, heavy braking. Make sure you get that tight inside line and get the exit on point as well, as we now run down the hill into the fast uphill section that is Eau Rouge and then Radion. And you need to keep your foot in here if you can, as we now enter the long Kemmel Straight into the DRS zone, pulling at least 325 kilometers per hour heading into Les Combes. Once again, heavy braking, but it is still a pretty quick section of corners. And through another right-hander there, I've forgotten the name of the corner, but as we now go through the downhill off-camber corner that is known as Rivage, and once again through no name or speaker's corner, as Miran said, and we now go into the near flat-out left-hander in Pouhon. Some drivers may be able to keep their foot in through there, but some drivers may have to lift off. As we now enter the right-left chicane. The right-left chicane, fifth gear through here from Farina, as we now enter Stavolo corner and into another right-hander before we exit sector 2 and enter the final part of the lap, which is the flat-out section of Blanchimont, pulling once again near enough 200 miles per hour through here. And it's a very quick left corner that you cannot afford to get wrong, otherwise you'll go flying off into the barriers, as we now enter the heavy braking zone of the bus stop chicane into the right, flows through to the left, and on the exit, pretty good exit from Farina, opens the DRS and back onto the pit straight. And that is Spa-Francorchamps. A 1:48.9 from Farina is the benchmark.
Yeah, and the time is immediately beaten by Eric Adelberg. I think Farina lost a bit of time through the bus stop. He looked to slide a bit on the exit through the bus stops. I think that might have lost him a tenth or two, quite possibly. So, yeah, we'll see if he's going to be able to manage an improvement in. But so far, it doesn't seem like the worst of laps, as Will Parrish, only 2 tenths off Dennis Groff here. So Parrish is not having a bad performance at all.
Yeah, absolutely not. He's currently sat P3 with his teammate just behind him in P4s. Both the Red Bulls are currently holding the front row, but we are yet to see the Mercedes set their laps, as well as I think Wojtek Kulasek, as Parachki does take provisional pole, but we are waiting on his teammate Jesper Johansson to do something about that, as well as Wojtek Kulasek in the Alpine, and he goes P3.
Ooh,
Wojtek
very good
Kulasek
lap.
goes a provisional P3, but we are still waiting on Jesper Johansson, who I think is going around Blanchimont now.
Yes, he is. But Enes Parachki just getting himself ahead of Dennis Raw by 3 thousandths. No, I think that's 2 thousandths even of a second. So margins very, very close here in qualifying. And Kulasek as well, only 100th off Dennis Raw. So it's a brilliant lap from Wojtek Kulasek in the Alpine as well. And ooh, Jesper Johansson. What has happened?
Must have made quite a few mistakes through there, as I think Luca Farina has made an improvement, but it isn't enough to lift him from P7. So Jesper Johansson is 7/10ths off the pace, and that is a very concerning sight for Mercedes, as we see once again Dennis Graf 1,000th off his personal best, and very, very close to making an improvement, which would have probably seen him go pole position.
Yeah, Graf lapping very consistently then. Wojtek Kulasek as well, enjoying himself right now. We'll see if he's going to be able to keep that third. Either way, it's looking positive for a second row start. Alfred Klaus improves, and he can't get himself ahead of the Alpine driver.
Yeah, and speaking of fine margins, it is very close between third and fourth, with 6/1000ths of a second in it, as we see Kulasek fly through Blanchimont and into the bus stop chicane once more, as he goes through the right and into the left. Will there be any improvements whatsoever? He is a 10th off Parachki, and no improvement from Kulasek. He remains third for now, but I don't think he'd mind that.
Yeah, there was an improvement from Enis Parachki though. He found the 10th on that lap. That's a 1:48.522. He extends his advantage then over the rest of the field. Jesper Johansson then, this is not what he needs here in qualifying, and we'll see if he's going to be able to make a change for this as he heads out of the final corner. Will he be able to improve on this lap? Yes, he does, but it's only 9th. What is happening to Jesper Johansson here in Q3?
I have no idea, but it is a very, very concerning sight for the Mercedes team, seeing one of their drivers on pole and another one in 9th, so which is absolutely not what they wanted and not what they needed here at Spa. As we see Franco Gamba through Blanchimont again, as the clock hits 0 and qualifying is over, as Graf also improves on his lap, but it is still 400ths behind Parachki, as we see Gamba go across the start-finish line, but there is an improvement, but he is still behind Johansson in 10th, as we see. The final laps from everyone still out on track, as Alfred Klaus gets his lap, no improvement from him, and we now see the Macedonian Enis Parachki. Can he further mount his provisional pole and make it an actual pole position? He crosses the line now, and there's no improvement from him, but he still stays pole. Unless Wojtek Kulasek, of all people, has something to say about it. No, he is peeling off. He peels away into the pits.
Yeah.
As we see Jesper Johansson once again, he needs an improvement. He's 5/10ths down, I think, on the fastest lap. So this is absolutely horrifying for the Swede, and there will be a lot of work to do if he is to mount a challenge in the race.
Yeah, he's just going to have to hope that he gets a good lap from this one. He's going to need it as he rounds the final corner. Can Jesper Johansson improve on this lap? It's only 8th for Jesper Johansson here at Spa. Enis Parachki could be on for pole, and Johansson will be starting 8th at best.
Yeah, very disappointing. He's not even into the 148s, as we saw Farina make a marginal improvement with a 148.9 for lat, as we see Dennis Graf peel off into the pits. So I think that does confirm Enis Parachki's pole position, at the Belgian Grand Prix. A very stellar lap from the Macedonian once again today. So, and Mercedes will at least have some salvation for the race.
Yeah, and that is it then. And on pole position, once again, Enis Parachki is on pole here at Spa. And yeah, that is qualifying done and dusted then. Once again, another brilliant showing from Enis Parachki here in qualifying. But the big talking point will be Wojtek Kulasek in third.
Yeah, I mean, he very nearly got knocked out of Q2, but he is just blasted through Spa and has put himself in a very beneficial position in third place. So very good drive from the Czech.
Yeah, he's done very well for himself. And a brilliant showing from AlphaTauri as well today. P5 and P6. They will be delighted with that.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's once again Will Parrish in fifth ahead of his teammate Eric Adelberg. The American once again proving to be the team leader at AlphaTauri, and Adelberg is trying to follow by example of his American teammate. But yeah, a very interesting grid for today's race. As we approach ever closer to the race. I think I guess whilst we wait, I may as well do the grid rundown for you. So on pole today is Enis Parachki. In second, we have Dennis Graf. Third is Wojtek Kulasek. Fourth, Alfred Klaus. AlphaTauri lock out the third row with Will Parrish and Eric Adelberg. Seventh is Luca Farina in the Ferrari. Very solid return for him. Eighth is in a lowly eighth for a Mercedes car is Jesper Johansson. Very disappointing qualifying from him. In ninth is the lead Aston Martin of Fernando Tost, and in 10th is Franco Gamba in the other Alpine. In 11th we have Thomas Mandic in the other Aston Martin. 12th and very shockingly is Laban Sajnikai in the Ferrari. 13th we have Josef Frederick Suto, a very shocking performance for McLaren. In 14th the Williams of Alex Broster, and rounding out the Q2 knockouts is Lewis McIntyre, also showing a disappointing showing for McLaren today. And then the final five is Daniel Varla, Alexander Arnold in the other Williams, and then the bottom three is Victor Albon in the Haas, Miran Evci in the other Alfa Romeo on his return to F1, and Daniel Fraser in last.
Yep. Thanks for the grid rundown, Alex. And now it is time to go down to the grid. We're gonna get ready for 25 laps of action here at the Belgian Grand Prix. Parachki on pole as we have 6 lights. And we're on their way here at Spa. It's a good launch from Enis Parachki, a very good one at that. Should be able to cover off Dennis Graf, no problem. Oh, I might be wrong here, as Graf is going to try to go around the outside line, and he is going to be wheel to wheel, I think, with the Mercedes. I've been proven completely wrong here, as Dennis Graf has taken the lead in the Belgian Grand Prix, but Parachki muscles his way around the outside line of the German and retakes it as we head up the hill and now down the Camel Straight.
Yeah, and Klaus just behind managed to nick P3 off of Kulasek, but Kulasek is fighting back into their com. Klaus holds the outside line, and I think he is able to hold P3 for now. And the AlphaTauris also have swapped positions. Adelberg has overtaken his teammate Will Parrish to take P5, and Johansson is already making progress. He has made up 2 positions off the start, and he's into P6. So a very strong start from the Swede, and he is definitely driving with a bit of anger following a disappointing qualifying.
Yeah, good start from Jesper Johansson then, and Enis Parachki, brilliant on the defense, I have to say. So he did very, very well. Here is Victor Album then. He's fighting Miran FG for 19th as the two go side by side. Miran FG in his first race for Alfa Romeo. The two are going to go wheel to wheel as FG will get the Dane for P19.
Yeah, well, the battle for effectively the wooden spoon, but still very entertaining nonetheless, as it is very close racing. As we cut from one Alpine to go have a look at the other, it's Franco Gamba in P10 all over the back of Fernando Tost. Can he possibly get a move done? As well, we're not sure, but Joseph Frederick Suto is actually going to try and hit Gamba's pockets, but he has been pushed out wide and I think he's lost the place to Thomas Mandich momentarily, but Gamba pushed him out wide, almost into the pits. But Suto will try a second time to get the Italian, and I think he may just do it this time. But Gamba will hold that outside line, and I think they might just go side by side into Eau Rouge.
And we'll see if he's going to be able to do it then, as the two will go side by side, very, very close between each other, and Shuto just has to back out of it, and as a result he's got quite a poor run, and now Thomas Mandic is going to try and take advantage of this. He's going to go wheel to wheel, pushes him out wide, and he is going to get it, and he might even get Franco Gamba here, quite possibly, but no, he's going to have to settle for P11. Either way, he takes advantage of the situation very, very well, as here is Lewis McIntyre and Labasas Nishkai all the way down in 14th fighting each other.
Yeah, so Nishkai must have had a very terrible start as he's down in 14th as we watch Alex Brosser overtake Suto very, very, very well for 12th place. And the battle between Gamba, Mandic and Suto has actually invited Brosser back into the fight, so very, very interesting to see the battle for the lower points positions as we once again cut back to Eric Adelberg in the Alpha Tauri, once again behind Wojtek Kulasek, and he is edging closer, but he will have to watch out as the Mercedes of Johansson is right on his tail.
Yeah, and at the moment Eric Adelberg will have to hope that Kulasek drops out of the 1 second range within the next lap, as we're going to see Jesper Johansson. He's gonna contact. He muscles his way past Eric Adelberg, and I don't think the Swiss man's gonna be too happy about it. That he's immediately lost the position to Will Parrish, and I think Luca Farina is now trying to pressure the Formula 2 champion, as the two are going to go side by side now as we head out of La Source and down the run into Eau Rouge. It is going to be Adelberg who remains ahead of Luca Farina, but yeah, Eric Adelberg 100% will not be happy about Jesper Johansson.
Yeah, it seemed a tad bit forceful from the Swedish driver, but as I said before, he will be driving with a bit of anger today to make up for the lost positions in qualifying, as Farina is going to try and go all the way around the outside at Lake Common. It's a great move, but can he make it stick? I think he can, yes. Luca Farina up into P7 with a fantastic move around the outside.
Yeah, he's done very, very well. As here is Miran FG. He's going to try to pick off the other Haas. As here is his teammate Daniel Wale, who's just passed Lewis McIntyre for 15th. Great stuff from Daniel Wale.
Yeah, and Wale is, and McIntyre is actually seemingly having a disappointing race as well as qualifying, as he has been overtaken by the Alfa Romeo, and he's now got Alex Arnold to worry about as well in 17th. As we once again cut back to the lead drivers in Dennis Graf and Enis Parachki. Graf still chasing down the reigning champion as we enter the bus stop chicane, and Graf is still in DRS range of the Macedonian, so he will have the benefit of DRS, but I don't think he'll be close enough on this occasion to mount a challenge into the first corner.
He set the fast lap of the race though, so Graf is pushing, as we see Josef Fredrik Schuto, who's just gotten past Alex Broster, my apologies, for 12th. So that's driver.
I think Broster was behind to begin with. He tried to make a move, but Schuto defended well. So Broster holding place in 13th for the time being, as we once again cut back to Dennis Graf going down the Kemmel Straight, 5/10 behind Parachki, but I don't think the DRS will allow him to get close enough on this occasion. So Graf sitting behind for now.
Yeah, these two kind of in a world of their own right now, as Alfred Klaus is 1.2 behind, struggling to keep up with Parachki and Graf. Wojtek Kulasek is actually catching Alfred Klaus, so we could have Kulasek try and take a bit of revenge to Alfred Klaus and try and reclaim that third.
Yeah, and Kulasek is catching Klaus once again, and Klaus is very much falling into the clutches of the rest of the field, and he will need to pick up the pace if he is to keep that P3 spot, as we once again cut to Kulasek's teammate Franco Gamba in the battle for P9, this time with Fernando Tost.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting then. Franco Gamba, who's going to have a very good run of Slipstream as we head down Sector 3, and we're going to head through Blanchimont as well. Gamba is... Ooh, he tried it there into Blanchimont, actually. But I think he's going to have to wait into the bus stop. He's going to go to the outside line. No! Doesn't try it. And will have to stay behind for the time being.
Yeah, I think it was Toss actually defending quite well from Franco Gamba. So a very, very, very close battles again, with Thomas Mandic actually following close behind this battle now, and he may be hoping to pick up 2 positions if these two keep battling.
Yeah, as the battle is still not over yet. Gamba is going to chase him down as they head up the hill. He's got a good run, and paired with the DRS, this could be a very good opportunity for Franco Gamba, as he now has the DRS engaged. And as they head down the Kemmel Straight into Lake Coombe, Gamba is ahead and up into 9th.
Yeah, got the move done before the corner, so it was job done. I didn't need to worry about having to defend his position, and now Tost is in a bit of trouble as he's got his teammate Thomas Mandic to worry about, as Mandic goes down the inside at Rivage, and it's a great move on his teammate to put him into the points-paying position. So Fernando Tost falling back a little bit and possibly under threat from Joseph Frederick Schuto in the McLaren.
Yeah, this could get interesting. Schuto is going to want to score points here. At Belgium is now piling the pressure on Fernando Tost in 11th.
Yeah, Tost must have got a bit dishevelled when Gamba got past. May have lost his run a little bit, because he is still dropping back from his teammate and Gamba. So Tost looking to be in a bit of danger here, as Schuto will definitely have his tail up.
Indeed, as Dennis Graf seems to be... Ooh, as that was Schuto, trying to go to the outside line of Fernando Tost, but Tost defending his position then. I wanted to mention Dennis Graf, who seems to be losing time on Enes Parachki. I think he momentarily dropped out of the 1 second range, so Graf seems to be struggling, and obviously doesn't hold a fast lap anymore. It's Jesper Johansson who holds it, but unfortunately for Jesper Johansson, he's stuck in a DRS train, so yeah, safe to say Johansson probably won't be going anywhere for these next few laps.
Yeah, as we once again cut back towards the back of the field, as Miran Evci is right on the back of Daniel Fraser. He may be able to finally pick off that other Haas. He pulls to the outside, but as McIntyre was at the same time trying to also get a move done, Evci unable to get the move done, but he may be able to do it now down the inside. It was very, very close, and he may try again at Rivage, but no, he is going to have to hold down P19 for the time being.
Yeah, as we're now looking at Josef Frederick Schuto chasing down Fernando Tost. 3/10 is the gap between the two, and Tost losing quite a bit of time on Thomas Mandic as well. So this is going to be Josef Frederick Schuto's time to strike, considering Tost doesn't have DRS, and you can already see how close he is just on raw pace alone. So a move looks imminent for the Slovakian.
Yeah, and Tost slowing up and holding Schuto behind is actually inviting Alex Broster and Laban Zashnikai behind into the battle for P11. So if Schuto wants this move done without having to defend from other drivers, he will have to do it now.
And we'll see if he's going to be able to pull it off now. wasn't able to do it into the bus stop, but he's going to have, I think, a very good shot heading up a Rouge and down the Camel Straight, where we usually see most overtakes being pulled off.
Yeah, and whilst we were saying, of all people, Thomas Mandich has set the fastest lap of the race in P10, so very good lap from him, and a very good pace as well, as he looks to catch up to Franco Gamba in P9.
Yeah. Mandich then, surprisingly good on pace. I don't know if that's just him in the Aston Martin suddenly starting to perform, or whatever it may be, but it's good to see that he is on the pace. Either way, we're seeing his teammate try and hold off Josef Frederik Schuto now into Brussels. He isn't able to do anything, and is now gonna try and defend from Alex Broster, who has a look on the outside line. Broster isn't able to do it though, and as a result, everyone stays in their respective positions. I think Labas Nishkai had a bit of a look on Broster as well, but the Serbian will have to stay behind.
Yeah, I think Broster was getting held up by Schuto going slowly a little bit because he couldn't find his way past him. Schuto looks to the outside, but Toss blocks him off. But Toss blocks him off once again. So Schuto probably getting ever more frustrated behind that Aston Martin, and it must be like trying to break down a green wall if you are Josef Frederik Schuto.
I suppose, but yeah, Tost has been doing very, very well on defense. I have to give it to him. He's been holding off Josef Frederik Schuto brilliantly, and it is playing out in his favor, as it might not anymore, as Schuto goes round the outside line, almost spins out and forces Tost off the track, and it's gone horribly for Fernando Tost, but Josef Frederik Schuto has gotten the move by. And that is Daniel Fraser, and I think he suffered what Josef Frederik Schuto avoided.
I think he's... Did he spin out on his own there? Oh no, it was FG. It was FG. He hit FG.
Yeah, he understeered, went over the curb and understeered into FG, and yeah.
FG's able to keep going, but I think Daniel Fraser will be out of the Belgian Grand Prix. So,
and Schuto as well got quite a slide there. Luckily, I was able to keep it on the track. But yeah, I think it is the same between Fraser and FG, as going over the curb. I think Schuto lost it on his own on the outside line there, even before the contact. So it was a pretty bizarre incident. But yeah, lucky that both drivers were able to continue, but Fernando Tost has now fallen behind not only Schuto but Broster and Zasnishkai as well. And Labas Zasnishkai looking very set to take this 12th away from Alex Broster, as Broster is now without the DRS. Zasnishkai had a look into Leikub, but wasn't able to pull anything off there.
Yeah, and just a quick confirmation, Daniel Fraser is out of the race following that crash, but that's not important, as we are now looking at the battle for P12 with Alex Broster and Laban Zasnishkai. Broster looking a bit vulnerable without just being in the DRS of Schuto, as he has managed to pull away a little bit after his overtake on Tost, but Zasnishkai is behind what has been a very quick Williams driver this season, so he will definitely be facing quite a challenge as we cut back to the front of the field with Jesper Johansson right behind Wojtek Kulasek, who is still doing quite a sterling job in that P4. But the question is, how long can he keep it for, with Johansson right behind him and raring to make a move?
We'll see. They're pretty close for the time being. Johansson still pretty good on pace, but as you said, I think it is still Thomas Mandich who holds the fastest lap of the race. So
no, Albert Klaas has just took it.
Oh, all right. Are you sure that's? Are you looking on the timing board, or are you looking in the bottom left?
Never mind. That was Klaas has set a personal best. That's what I meant.
Yeah, the purple on the timing tower is a personal best. When a fastest lap appears, it usually says in the bottom left that someone set a fastest lap. So yeah, you might just be getting it mixed up. So Yeah, well, no worries. Either way, Johansson has been looking pretty strong on pace in these first 9 laps of the race. But the question is then, when will that pace drop off? Because I don't think he can go on forever.
Yeah, well, you never know. He is a very quick driver, considering that he has won, I believe, 2 world titles. I may be very wrong there. So
No, it is 2 world titles. You're right.
yeah, the double world champion may just prove why he earned those, and be showing his pace in that Mercedes to Wojtek Kulasek in the Alpine. But Kulasek has been quick all weekend, so we have got to give it to him. So it will be a very interesting fight for the P4.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be very interesting to see this then. As Johansson obviously not only has Kulasek to pass, but he also has Parrish and Farina lurking behind in this little train. So it is a pretty close pack for the time being. So Johansson will have to be careful here not to slip up into any silly errors, because otherwise he could do what Fernando Tost did, unfortunately, and lose a bunch of positions. So here's Daniel Wale, try to be the next person to get past Tost, but wasn't quite able to do it just yet.
Yeah, they went alongside each other, but I think Wale backed out because he didn't want to face the same fate as the likes of Daniel Fraser.
Yeah, and fair enough to him, as we now head up Arouge and Radion. 5/10 the gap that separates Johansson and Kulasek, as the DRS is going to be engaged for the Swede.
Not quite close enough, I don't think.
Yeah, no, he isn't. And, well, I think, I don't know what I was going to say really, but I think it isn't really a question of when, but even more if, honestly, because I think Kulasek has been driving a really strong race, and Johansson usually has a tendency to get stuck behind slower cars. So Kulasek, if he's able to hold on these 15 laps, could beat Jesper Johansson here and throw a spanner in the works for the Swede here. So I wouldn't say it's certain that Johansson does get past Kulasek here.
Yeah, and I think Johansson's struggle with slow cars, maybe because he's so used to being up front with the likes of Parachki and Graf. So Johansson is probably starting to tap his foot a little bit and starts to get a bit frustrated in the cockpit. But he will have to keep his composure if he wants to actually get past the Czech driver, who is defending very well.
Yeah, we'll see what is gonna happen, as we're looking at Labas Nishkai, who's still piling on the pressure on Alex Broster, who has a 4-second gap to Josef Fredrik Schuto. I have no idea how Schuto's been able to pull a gap like that, because last time we checked it was about 1.3, 1.4 maybe. So Schuto is enjoying himself right now.
Yeah, I think Broster's just fallen off the pace a little bit, or it could be because Schuto was at least 10 times quicker than Tost. So it must be Schuto finally being able to be released from the back of Fernando Tost. So Schuto may finally be able to flex his muscles a little bit and try and catch up to Mandic in P10.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say he's doing that right now. He's obviously building a pretty major gap over Alex Broster, but he's kind of stuck chasing down Tomas Mandic, which he hasn't been able to do. It's 3.8 between him and Mandic, and that gap hasn't really gone down in these past few laps. So, yeah, Schuto, I think, is just feeling a bit lonely.
Yeah, he think he just wants someone to race with, really. As we once again cut back to the lead pack of the race, once again back to Johansson, the 2-time world champion, behind Wojtek Kulasek in P4. Kulasek still defending very well from the 2-time champion, and Johansson probably getting much more frustrated as each lap passes. Time is time is still on Johansson's side, but it is running out ever slowly and gradually, as I said, each lap goes on. So Johansson still in P5 as it stands, and I think he may have a pretty good chance to get the move done into Origi. Much closer than the last lap. He's within 4 attempts, and I think he may be able to get the move done possibly before the end of the straight. He pulls to the right hand side. He's going to try and look down the inside, but Kulasek is able to close the door on the Swede. So Johansson still in P5 with Kulasek defending the dear life, really, as we once again cut back to the battle between Sajnikai and the Williams driver in Alex Broster. Nothing happening in that battle yet. Still P13 for Sajnikai. As we actually have a look at that chance to get past again, and I think Broster almost went off the track there, but Sajnikai probably saw that and got caught up a little bit, so probably panicked because he thought he was going to get taken out by the Williams going wide. So it is still Sajnikai in P13 and Broster in P12. As the gap between 11th and 12th is actually 6.5 seconds now, so Broster's mistake has definitely cost him a lot of time.
Yeah, it certainly has. Laban Sajnikai, I think, just thought a bit instinctively to back out of that one. So yeah, it's not really done any wonders for neither Alex Broster or Laban Sajnikai, that incident. As we're now looking at Johansson still chasing down Wojtek Kulasek. Kulasek, who as well has been pretty good on pace, and I think that was Johansson. I think that was Johansson running wide through the bus stop, and you can see how much time he lost.
Yeah, as Parrish is now definitely licking his lips at that, and he's now right behind the Mercedes driver, so he could potentially snatch P5 away from the Swedish driver and possibly go after Kulasek himself, as the AlphaTauri driver is still running a very, very good race in P6, so the American could be on the move here.
He could definitely be. As we head down the Kemmel straight and into Lake Coombe, Parrish isn't able to do anything, and this train has remained in the same order for quite a long while now.
Yeah, I think the race is just starting to settle down a little bit now as moves are happening less and less, but they will come eventually. Just a matter of when, really.
Yeah, we'll see when that is going to occur, as we're still looking at Will Parrish, and you can see that lockup from Johansson, I think, gave him a bit of motivation, because he is properly on the back of Jesper Johansson, Will Parrish.
Yeah, I think the gap dropped below 0.3 of a second for a moment there, but still he has Luca Farina right behind him, who himself is running a very, very good race in his return to the Tifosi. And Parrish is going to have to look out for that high-flying Italian at the moment. As we once again cut back to the battle for P8 between Gamba and Alderberg. Gamba right on the back of the AlphaTauri driver. And, well, Gamba's been running a pretty quiet race as of now, but I think he may be able to finally get some action. As, well, I say quiet, I think he was amongst the battle for the world points positions earlier on in the race between the likes of him, Mandic and Tost. And we once again cut back to Laban Sajnikai, who is still behind Alex Broster, who is actually starting to form quite a big DRS train behind the Williams driver, going back to Miranevski in 18th, and Sajnikai is still trying to get get past the Williams, and he goes down the inside, but he isn't able to get the move done.
Ooh.
And he went wide a little bit there, I think.
He went pretty wide. And that's allowed Fernando Tost to catch up. And look how close this pack is all of a sudden. I think Alex Broster will be feeling a bit more relief with that.
Yeah, the gap was just outside of a second for a moment there, but Sajnikai is catching up once again. So Broster's job is not done yet, and just a quick update on Shuto's lonely race. He has bridged the gap a little bit, just over 2 seconds to Thomas Mantic. So he is catching, but it is quite slowly. So he will have to pick up the pace a little bit if he is to get any points today.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of. Yeah, I think this is the first. If things stand like they are, this is gonna be the first ever time McLaren will score 0 points this season.
Yeah, very shocking considering how well they've ran this year. But speaking of McLaren, we see Lewis McIntyre trying to have a look around the outside of Daniel Waller, but Waller slams that door shut before anything of note can happen in that battle. As Sajnikai has definitely made up for all the time he lost on the back of Broster, as we once again cut back to Jesper Johansson, who is still behind Wojtek Kulasek. He is edging ever closer. He tries to look down the inside, but he is still not close enough this time round, and Kulasek barely holding on to P4 at this moment in time.
Yeah, Jesper Johansson seems to just be applying more pressure now. You can see he's built up a pretty sizable gap to Will Parrish. It's 1.2 seconds. I don't know where Johansson's found his pace from all of a sudden, but yeah, Kulasek might just start sweating a bit more.
Yeah, Johansson piling under pressure, and seemingly until he can find Kulasek's breaking point and edge his way past into P4 and crack on with catching the top three, who have bridged quite a gap to the Alpine behind. So Johansson will definitely be wanting to make the move soon.
Yeah, we'll see if he is going to be able to do it. He's dropped back quite a bit though. Through sector 3, it's about 7/10 of a gap now as they make their way through Blanchimont.
Yeah, I think he dropped back a little bit from Kulasek, but as we say again, we cut back once again to that battle for P12, which seems to not really be going anywhere as of now, as Sajnikai is still stuck behind the Williams of Alex Broster, making his car the widest Williams ever, as we see McIntyre go down the inside. No! He spun it, and oh dear, that's just
yeah, that is not how you do a re-entry. And Lewis McIntyre, who I think will be out. Oh, they've
Albon's managed to get Evchi's managed to get going thanks to a bump from Albon, and McIntyre there'll be definite face palms going in the McLaren garage from that. But McIntyre, what happened there?
Yeah, this is certainly a race to forget for not only Lewis McIntyre but just McLaren as a whole today. This is definitely not the result they'd wanted, especially considering they're going up against Ferrari, who also aren't scoring the most points in the world here today. So yeah, McLaren, not the greatest day in the office, that's to say the least.
Yeah, well, there may still be salvation yet, as Joseph Frederick Schutter is cutting that gap ever more to Thomas Mandic. It's now just over a second, so it's only a matter of time before he's able to get into the DRS and potentially get a move done, as we watch the rivals of McLaren, Ferrari and Luca Farina, still behind Will Parrish in P6. Parrish has dropped out of Johansson's DRS, so he won't be able to get a move done, as we cut to the Alpine of Franco Gamba.
Oh, and there's contact. Gamba and Adelberg both spinning out, and again, just as it was with McIntyre, both of them go off the track, and I think
that might be out.
Yeah, I fear that's going to be a DNF for the pair of them. I think Adelberg and Gamba are out, and that is a massive shame because both of them were on for points here at Spa.
Yeah, and I think Sajnika and Broster will be thanking their lucky stars for that, as Broster is actually into the points-paying positions now. But Sajnika may be able to take that off him in the matter of laps, as he is still getting ever closer to the Williams driver.
Yeah, Farina is having a look on Will Parrish there, tried to get up into 6th, but wasn't quite able to do that.
Oh, they've kept going.
Yeah, they've kept going, but they're way back. So I don't know if they're going to be able to do anything this race. That's safe to say. As Labazasnishkai had once again another look on Alex Broster. He could still nab a point for himself here at Spa.
Yeah, but it seriously depends on if he can get past the Great Wall of Williams effectively, because Broster is doing a mighty fine job of defending that P10. So only a matter of time really before Sajnikai in the Ferrari could potentially get that move done and dusted.
Yes, indeed. We'll see. If Laban is going to be able to do it, obviously he wouldn't want to end. Oh, that is Lewis McIntyre. He's gone off at that looks like he lost it at Puon. So I think obviously he's got some aero damage.
Yeah, I think that was just the end of the line for McIntyre, that incident, and I think he's just spun out.
Oof. Yeah, high speed as well. Ooh. Just hits the wall. Lucky it's not at a very high speed.
Yeah, he slowed down just enough to avoid any serious impact, but we still hope he's okay after that. But I think that is his day done. Yeah,
unfortunately for Lewis McIntyre, I think he won't be able to carry on. But yeah, didn't seem like it was that big of an impact. It kind of scared me because in the last accident we had in Formula 1 at Rouge, if you do remember that, Alex, I'm not sure if you remember that race.
Yeah, I believe it was
Samet Özkan, it was.
Yeah, Samet Özkan getting absolutely launched, really.
Yeah, he was ruled out for, I think, was it 4 or 5 races, and it's the biggest injury we've ever had in the ACOC, so it was a huge accident. Yeah, McIntyre is out then. He will become the second DNFer here at the Belgian Grand Prix, and yeah, again, a race to forget for the Brits.
Yeah, you'd wonder if if the same thing would happen to Gamba and Adelberg, considering that they potentially have some aero damage too, because I think of the contact they made with Gamba running straight into the back of Adelberg, or it was the other way around. But let's just hope that they stay out of the walls again.
Yeah, we'll see, or well, we hope not. I think that's to say the least, because obviously we don't want to see any more accidents. But yeah, I think that just kind of serves as a bit of a warning to the guys with damage not to try and push all out when you've got reduced aerodynamical force, because the car might just behave unpredictably. As yeah, McIntyre is officially a DNFer here at Spa, as we're now looking at Jesper Johansson. It's going to be 5 laps to go, 6 laps for Johansson to try and get 4th in this race.
Yeah, I think he's been behind all over the back of Corsa for the best part of 10 laps. Now, and he's probably at his coming towards his wit's end with the Czech driver now, who is still defending for dear life, really. But we can't fault him for that, and Kursek is doing a very good job, so we'll have to see how long he can keep this up before Johansson breaks him, but it may not be for long as Johansson goes down the inside, but he isn't able to make the move. Kursek once again putting his car in the right place to hold that P4.
Yeah, brilliant defense from Wojtek Kursek, I have to say. He's been so solid these past 19 laps. And Jesper Johansson as well isn't really that poor on pace either. He's been really strong. He's been really, really strong on pace this race. So Kulasek, I have to say, is pulling out a really impressive drive here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Johansson is probably absolutely fuming in that Mercedes cockpit if he wasn't already from qualifying. So definitely a weekend that won't last long in the memory if you are Jesper Johansson, unless he can get past Wojtek Kulasek in the remaining laps as we head towards 5 laps to go. As I think Parachki is about to cross the start-finish straight, as Johansson has finally got the move done, I think. Yes, he has. He's done it. He's into P4.
Yeah, he drifted round the outside line of Wojtek Kulasek. And yeah, finally, those 90 laps of defending and frustration for Jesper Johansson comes to an end. And now he is up at the P4, but I don't think he's going any higher than that, really. Kulasek's held on for so long. It's a 5.7 gap to Alfred Klaus, so I don't think Johansson's going anywhere, really.
Well, unless he can make up near enough 6 seconds in the remaining 5 laps, then I think the maximum he can score is... Oh, and Kulasek was actually trying to fight back and continue Johansson's frustrations, but I think it's Johansson's turn to do a bit of defending this time round, and he holds on to that P4 for the time being, as Will Parrish has actually been invited into this fight, as he may try and take P5 away from Kulasek, who is hoping that his hard work is not undone in these last few laps.
Yes, indeed, as we're now looking at Josef Frederik Schuto is chasing down Thomas Mandic for 8th. Mandic, who is, I have to say, not having too bad of a race, considering he's been sent back to Aston Martin. I think he's done pretty well for himself in this race.
Yeah, Mandic having, well, not what everyone would see as a good season at Ferrari, but he is. This may hopefully be a new beginning for the Croatian, but Schuto, who is now in the points following Gamber and Adelberg's little incident at the bus stop chicane, he is in the points, but I think he wants more than just a P9 following what he had to go through in qualifying.
Yes, indeed. Josef Frederik Schuto will certainly not settle for only 9th. As we head down into La Source. It's lap 21 out of 25. And he's still putting the pressure on him.
Yeah, Schuto still piling on the pressure and hoping that he can make that move very, very soon, as time is running out for Schuto in the McLaren, and Mandic is going to have to defend for his life if he wants to keep that P8 to his name.
Yeah, we'll see if he is going to be able to do that. As here's something very interesting then. You have Dennis Graf, who's caught up to Ernest Parachki.
Yeah, well, Graf's not been that far behind for the whole race, but he is able to. But I think he has finally found a bit of pace to potentially contend for a race win here against Ernest Parachki. And Parachki may be checking his mirrors a bit more often now to see where that charging Red Bull is, but it looks like it is edging ever closer, and he is ready to strike very soon. As Graf is still quite close to the back of that Mercedes, so there could be a move. A move could happen quite soon, with 3 laps to go now. So it is very much do or die territory for Dennis Graf if he wants to get his 2nd win of the season.
Yeah, this could get very, very interesting. Enes Parachki, who's dominated so far, could just have it slip in the final moments if he's not too careful. Dennis Graf could try and take the race win away from the hands of Enes Parachki, hopefully cleanly this time. unlike in Hockenheim. So yeah, Graf is properly putting the pressure on now.
Yeah, and it's actually at a crucial time as well because, well, instead of getting it done earlier on in the race and having to defend for who knows how many laps, he's actually decided to, I guess, charge forward towards the end, so he'd have less defending to do it. So it is a very smart time to strike for Dennis Graf, but it will leave him with less laps to potentially take the lead.
Yeah, Dennis Graf as well will be hoping to get past Dennis Parachki here and take the win, because that means he's going to take a chunk out of that gap between him and Dennis Parachki in the championship, and Jesper Johansson as well, who's down in 4th. So the championship will just get so much closer if Graf is able to get past Parachki here.
Yeah, absolutely, and I guess what we all want really is a championship battle instead of one driver just going through and winning every single race. So for the championship, it would be a very, very beneficial move, but we'll have to see if Parachki is able to hold his nerve and keep that quick German behind him.
Yeah, we'll see if he is going to be able to do it. Dennis Graf, who's gotten very close to race wins in these last 2 races, finished P2 in both Hungary and Germany, will finally be trying to get his 2nd race win of the season. As he is going to chase down Parachki as they head up Rouge and Radion. 3/10 is the gap between the two, and I think it might be the time to strike for Dennis Graf as he has the DRS engaged, and he is going to go up and alongside Dennis Parachki now into Lake Coombe. They will go side by side for the race lead. Parachki on the outside line holds off Dennis Graf.
Yeah, Parachki holding his nerve there through the Lecom chicane, and Graf will not be happy with that because he was wanting to get that move done, but he just couldn't hold it around the outside. So he will have to wait another lap, but time is absolutely not on his side as we actually cut back to Daniel Waller and Fernando Tost in the battle for P12. Waller did actually get past the Aston Martin driver for a moment, but Tost was able to defend that P12 well. So Waller's holding position in P13 for the time being.
Yeah,
as we finally cut back to the battle for P10. We've been away for a while, but it is once again Laban Sajnikai still stuck behind Alex Broster. Broster, some would say he doesn't really deserve to be in the points position. He has got there out of pure luck, but he has been defending very well from the Ferrari driver in what is actually much superior machinery to the Williams. So the Williams looking very, very strong today compared to the Ferrari.
Yeah, I don't think Broster is having a bad race at all, but it could come under pressure from Laban Zasnishkai here, who's chasing him down through Blanchimont, and Zasnishkai would definitely not want to end his point scoring streak this season. I believe he is the only man to have scored points in every single race of the season, so it'd be a shame to let that streak end here at Spa.
Yeah, it would be. So it is definitely going to be a crucial time to overtake if you are, as we actually see Franco Gamba, who, despite his accident, is charging forward and trying to overtake drivers as he's on the back of Victor Albom in the Haas as he enters the penultimate lap of the race. As we, Joseph Frederick Suto is in a battle with Mandic. I wasn't expecting to see that, but Suto tried to go around the outside, but just couldn't make it work. With 2 laps to go, he stays P9.
Mandic was able to hold him off there. Good stuff from Thomas Mandic. As we're now looking at Franco Gamba, who's got a great run on Victor Albom. This is probably gonna be a very easy pass for Franco Gamba, and into Lake Coombe. They're just gonna be wheel to wheel. Albom's pretty late on the brakes through Lake Coombe, but on the inside line as we head out of turn number 9. Albom is just momentarily ahead. Into Bruxelles we go, and Victor Albom actually pulls out a pretty solid defending job here.
Yeah, very, very interesting. But in all fairness to Gamba, he is in a stricken Alpine following his crash with Adelberg. So
Yeah,
Franco Gamba still actually having a bit of fight left in him following that accident.
it's a bit of a shame for Gamba. It's much unlike his first visit to the Spa circuit back in 2017, where he scored his first podium in Formula One, as we're now just starting the final lap of this Belgian Grand Prix. Look how close Lapazos Nishka is to the back of Alex Broster.
Yeah, I think he almost hit him in the middle of the bus-stop chicane as we actually cut back to the lead of this race. And Graf, I think his final chance to take the lead might have just gone there, as Gamba is still stuck behind Victor Albon. Albon blocking any chance of a move around the outside. So Gamba still in 17th as we once again cut back to the battle for the final points paying position between Broster and Sajnikai. Broster putting his car to the middle of the track, Sajnikai to the right hand side. I think he may. No, Broster defends the outside line, and I think he is going to hold on for P10 for the time being. But I think that may have been Sajnikai's last chance to get points in this race. So Alex Broster, brilliant defending job for quite a lot of the race.
Yeah, great defensive job from Alex Broster. Lapazos Nishka, I think, will be, a bit disappointed with not scoring any points here. But one man will be taking home the 25 points, finishing P1 as he just has 2 corners to go. Makes a slight lock up there, but it's not enough for Dennis Graf to do anything. He's going to come across the line for his 3rd win this season. Enis Parachki wins the Belgian Grand Prix after a very, very good drive. Jesper Johansson's going to come home P4, and Wojta Kulasek is going to come home in P5. Alex Broster is just going to hold off Lapazos Nishka, I do think. Gonna see then, heading into the bus stop. Is Nishka going to be able to do anything here? Has a look to the inside, and they make contact! Yeah, it's a pretty major contact, and Broster trying to find his way back onto the track. Alex Broster is going to be fuming about that. And you can see he's parked up at the side of the road, and Lapazos Nishka finishes P10 provisionally, but 100% there's going to be a penalty for that.
Yeah, I think there'll be some very, very strong words in the paddock between those two, as Broster, I think, is not going to actually finish this race unless he's able to get going again. But Adelberg flies past him, and I think Broster is not going to finish. Oh no, he's just going to wheel it across the line now, but it is going to be last place for Broster, and that is very, very unlucky for him.
It's very unlucky indeed. But there is the final results. Enis Parachki, I have to say, a brilliant drive from him. He's shown nerves of steel today, these past 25 laps, and he takes a very deserved win here at Spa. Dennis Graf and Alfred Klaus round out the podium. Then Jesper Johansson finishes 4th with the fastest lap, so he gets 1 extra point. Wojta Kulasek, a brilliant 5th today, with Will Parrish in P6. Luca Farina on his return to Ferrari, P7. I think you definitely can't complain about that. A brilliant result from him. Same with Thomas Mandich for Aston Martin in 8th. Then it's Josef Frederik Schuto finishing 9th, and then Lapazos Nishka rounding out the top 10.
And we cut to the bottom half of the field. In 11th is Fernando Tost. 12th is Daniel Waller. And he will definitely benefited from all the crashes that have happened today. 13th, Alex Arnold. 14th, Miranevci on his return to F1. 15th, Victor Albon. 16th, Franco Gamba will be very disappointed following his crash with Eric Adelberg, who is behind him in 17th, and another driver who will be absolutely furious with getting spun out is Alex Broster in 18th, because he would have actually finished P10 if it weren't for Sajnikai taking him out. And the 2 DNFs today are Lewis McIntyre and Daniel Fraser, and that is the Belgian Grand Prix. Yeah,
that has been it then for the Formula 1 Belgian Grand Prix. Thanks so much for watching, but before we go, it is time to award Driver of the day. And personally, I am going to give it to Wojtek Kulasek. I think even though he wasn't able to hold off Jesper Johansson for, he finished behind him, I still think he did a brilliant defensive job today in a far less faster car. The likes of Johansson and the Red Bulls, I think he did very well today to at least be able to contend in those spots. So he gets my driver of the day.
My driver today is actually going to go to Will Parrish, because he has ran a very, very consistent race today and has been rewarded with a very strong P6. So, very consistent racing from Will Parrish today, and he gets my driver of the day.
Yeah, he has driven a very good race as well. But that has been it then for Formula 1. Thanks so much for watching. Next round of F1 is going to be the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. So make sure to not miss that. Until then, I have been Mino.
And I've been Alex.
Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you when the AC returns for the Formula 1 Italian Grand Prix. Thank you,